Hey everyone, good afternoon. I'm Beth O'Connor. I'm a technology trainer at LIBOR. And if I haven't met you before, I'm glad you're with us today. And we're going to talk about Instanet. First, a little housekeeping though. I am recording this session. So you can sit back, relax, and then go back to the recording. And I'm also going to show you where there's other tutorials and places to learn, but I'm going to show you in kind of a different way than the Instanet folks do their training. Over time, I think I've learned things that kind of might save you time and help keep you organized. So I am recording this and I will post it to the Stratus Support Center as soon as I can. The questions, for you to ask questions, you're going to just click on the questions box up here in the top, or click in there and type your question to me, and I will cover as we go through each segment. We are going to talk about mobile, about Instanet on your mobile devices, and we'll do that towards the end of the session. All right. And I do also want to mention there's a lot of help from Instanet. I will point that out. Instanet is not a product from LIBOR. It's a company in Canada, and they have offices here in the US, but they have a lot of MLS clients. They know what you do for a living. They know your forms and your signings and how to keep you organized. So I think it's one of the best things you get for your dues, honestly. And we've had it since 2008, I believe. So some of you may be new agents and some of you may be new just jumping on to the whole paperless idea. So let's talk about it. The first thing I want to say is I hope that this is not what your desk looks like. It's possible, but if it is, then I bet it's very hard for you to find things. Uh, some people don't have things organized in folders, um, able to grab what they need easily. You probably could do it if you took an afternoon, but this is what ends up happening. And the same thing is true in the Instanet program. If you have things all over the place and not organized, you're going to hate this program because it makes it so much harder to find what you need. You really want to be organized. And once you get set up organized, and I'm going to help you do that today, once you get that set up, you're going to find it a lot easier. And then hopefully your desk will look a little bit more like this, with organization and easy ability to find what you need. So I just want to mention, we're going to talk about transaction folders. And I'm guessing that when you take a listing, or if you're taking a buyer out, you create a folder for that particular transaction, whatever's happening. Even if you're representing the seller and they're also buying something else, you might have two separate folders for those two different transactions. So that's what we're going to do in Instanet, is we're going to organize folders so that you can always find exactly what you need. So we want to um, avoid having to try to find things. Okay, so let me jump over to Instanet. Okay, again, if you joined us late, I am recording this. I will post the recording for you to see. Hopefully if I can get it done this evening, I will. It does take a little bit of time. So certainly by first thing Friday or tomorrow afternoon, we should be able to have it up there for you, the recording. Okay. So I'm starting at Stratus just because some of you may not use Instanet now. And so I just want to make sure you know how to get there. And the only way to get there on the desktop is to open Stratus and to click on this link right here. This menu is called MLS LIBOR Links. And the fourth one down is Instanet. You may have, yours may be over here or something like that. You may have it in some different location, doesn't matter where it is, but you're going to want to click on that link right there, Instanet, to get into the program. First time you come in, you have to do some setup. It wants to check your computer and do a few things. You just let it do that process. And it brings you to what we call the agent dashboard. So each of you has your own dashboard, and think of it as your desk. This is your desk, and it can be organized or it can be messy. And I'm going to show you how to organize it so that it's much easier when you come in here. Now, if anybody is a broker, a designated realtor of the office, the broker owner, you can toggle over between your own dashboard for your transactions, and then you'll have an option over here to flip over to the broker dashboard, and that gives you the ability to see all the agents' transactions, and make sure that they have the proper forms filled out and things like that. They have lots of training on that. So speaking of training, I want to mention that on most pages of Instanet, you're going to see this little screen with, let me just get a little bit closer here. Okay, so this little screen with the question mark in it, how do I, when I click on it, it knows what page I'm on and it gives me a recording telling me how to use it. I just find this to be so convenient, and they're very well done. They're short, they're easy to understand. So if you can't remember what I've taught you here, all you have to do is click on that little screen with the question mark. So what I want to do is clean this up. I can't get over how many agents have just an overwhelming number of things here. This gives me a headache. I could not work this way, and I want to clean it up. So the way to do that is to open the lock. Up here at the top right, you have a lock. When you click on the lock, it unlocks your dashboard in order for you to make changes to it. So you'll notice that we got this row of widgets, right? The ones that are gray means I already have it. The ones that are blue are the little widgets, and the green ones are the bigger boxes. All right, so some of them I already have and some of them I don't have. But I think it's too much. I think they give you too many things. And all I really want to have is this one transactions box. This one right here is the one that I want. Let me see if I can move it up. Yeah, so I moved it up and the forms went down here. You can drag and drop things, right? But all of this stuff is just your loose paperwork that should be inside of one of these transaction folders. So I think you should get rid of all of this. And I don't mean you're deleting it. I just mean you're moving this off your desk, okay, so that you can focus on just the folders. So I'm going to click on the X for each of the boxes. Also for the widgets here, I don't need the support. I can find that myself. I don't need this to create a contact. I'm not using it that way. And then over here, I'll probably get rid of Authenticign and templates. I might just leave this one here for creating a transaction. And then you can even, if you want to fill your screen with your transaction box, this is the key to staying organized. This is your folders organized on top of your desk. So once you have this set up this way, I think you're going to like Instanet better if you've been struggling with it. So I'm going to lock everything back up. I don't need any of these other items. I'm going to click on the lock, and now it's all set. Clean, easy for me to find. You can do your transaction folders by the address or a name of some kind. I'm going to show you how to create the transaction. Before we do that, though, there's a couple of setup things I really want you to use. And the first one is creating a template for your different types of transactions. So for example, you use different forms when you're the listing agent as opposed to when you may be the buyer's agent, right? Or if you're listing a condo or a co-op, you need different forms for that, right? Land, commercial, there's all different kinds of things you need depending on what kind of deal you're working on. So I want you to go to the 3 gears over here in the menu. If you can't recall, just open up the menu, click on this little hamburger up at the top, and you will see setup. That's where I'm going, is to the setup. Now we could spend the whole hour in here, and I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to show you some key ones that I want you to do. And one of them is this transaction templates. This is going to make your life so much easier. So when I click on transaction templates, I have already done 3 of them. This one is my condo co-op when I'm the listing agent. It's everything I need when I take a condo or a co-op listing, meaning all the forms. Land, every time I take a land listing, all those forms are ready for me to go here. And if I'm working as a buyer's agent, these are all the forms I need. So I'm going to show you how to set a new one up when you're the listing agent for a residential property. So we're going to come up here to the top and we're going to click add, and I'm going to call it residential listing agent. And we're going to call it a residential listing. And this is key here to choose the type, because then when you pick type on your actual folder creation, it'll know that these are connected. And this is going to be everything I need when I'm the listing agent. Okay, click save. And now that section of the transaction template is done, and you can create all of these other areas. Now, checklists, I don't know if too many people are using the checklist. You create your own, like um, think of all the steps that you do when you take a listing, and you might want to check them off that you took care of it. I got the lead paint filled out, I got the agency disclosure, I put the sign up on the lawn, I ordered the photographer, all those things that you sometimes you need little reminders. You can create your own checklists. But what we're going to do is just come down here to the forms section. Okay, I'm going to click on forms, and it says there's nothing in there yet, so I need to click on the plus sign. And the forms I need are under MLS of Long Island. And when I'm the listing agent, I need quite a few things. I need this contract. I need the agency disclosure for seller. I need the lead paint for sales. Hopefully we'll get some offers. We're not doing an exclusive. And check it off even if you don't think you'll need it, maybe just so that if you do need it, you've got it. Referral, release, report of change, those are your price changes. Report of transaction, that's your under contract and closing. The sales agreement, the withdrawal if you need it. Those are about to change. A couple of little changes when the new MLS goes active. You'll hear more about that coming up. And then the main thing I need for residential is the property data section. This one here is the one you want, the Stratus upload version. Okay, that allows you to just save time. You don't have to add it twice, type it twice. So you can see I have 14 here in my basket. I'm going to add those. You can always come back and add more or delete something that you don't need anymore. Okay. Now, brokers, if you want to set this up for your agents, you can do that. It can be shared. If you set it up as the broker, you can share these templates with all of your agents and know and feel confident that they are using all of the proper forms. If you have company forms, you're probably going to see that. If you work for some of the larger agencies, you're going to see one more option here with the name of your company, and that's going to be their forms in there as well. Okay. All right, so that was what we did in the transaction template. Let's return back to our main dashboard, and I'm going to create a new transaction. I'm just going to check for questions real quick on what we've covered so far. Okay. Good. Doesn't look like anything yet. I am recording this. If you jumped in late, you'll be able to watch what I covered so far from 3 o'clock. And you can ask me questions, just type them into the questions box on the side there. All right. Okay. So I'm going to create a new transaction here. All right. So these are the ones I have currently going. You can see some of them are older. You can sort them and filter them. We don't need to cover that right now. So I'm just going to click on create transaction here. And I'm going to give it a name. Now, I'm going to recommend that you use the address. And you could even put, so that I'm doing a property in Levittown, 554 Apple Lane. And sometimes people put the name in here, but you may also be helping them buy something in addition to selling their house. So if you have their name, that could get confusing. So we're going to use their address, 554 Apple. I'm making this up. If you're in Levittown, you'll say, what is she talking about? Okay. And here's where we're going to pick our template. Now, if you don't create templates, this won't even show. So we're going to drop this down, and we are the residential listing agent. Okay. So that's all set. And then the import data is if you have an ML number for that property, you could put it in here, and it will autofill some of the other things. If it's a multifamily house, you have to do it kind of differently. You have to put it in as a I'm sorry, when they ask the transaction type, I think. But if you don't have the ML number, leave this select source here. Don't open it up, choose Long Island, and leave it, because this is what happens when you go to create. You have to put in an ML number. So if you just leave it alone at select source, you're going to be the listing agent. We love wizards because that helps us walk through the process start to finish, right? And I'm going to create it. Okay, and this is the wizard. You'll notice here it says we're on step 1 of 5. Do you see that? We're going to go step by step through it. You can do these really quickly by just putting in the basic information, such as the address. Oops, I was just supposed to put the street number there. And that's in Levittown, Nassau, New York. You just have to put a little bit in there, nothing too much. You can always come back and add more things. And it is a residential property, and it is going to be an active listing because I've gotten the listing. All right. When you come back to it later, you're going to put in your list price if you want, and you get offers and all that kind of thing. You can come back in and put those details. But the important thing is to get this folder set up. Remember, I talked about that in the beginning, that this is the folder you're creating. This is, I'm going to use my folder. What you're creating is this. Okay, you're creating a place where you can put all the documents having to do with 554 Apple Lane. Okay, if you don't create a folder, your papers are going to be all over the place, like I showed you before, right? They're going to be flying around, and you won't have any way of finding them. So, so we're creating the folder, and they call it a transaction. I kind of wish they called it a transaction folder, but hopefully you'll remember what I've said. So we have the wizard options over here on the right side panel, but I'm just going to use the next. Don't hit save at the bottom until you're really completely done. That'll take you out. So we're going to just click on next to go to step 2. And this is the transaction dates. So let's say you got the listing today and you're setting this up. That's all you need. You don't have to put any more. Step 3. Now, I've already been added. That's me, and that's the company I work for. Okay, I'm an employee at Liborn MLS. You will see here your name and the name of the company you work with. Okay, and you can add people to it. So I'm going to add the 2 sellers. First one is Rick Moran, and you do need an email address. I'm going to show you how to do signings, and you need the email address in order to do that. Okay, so I'll just put mine in. Okay, and save. Now I'm going to put Rick's wife. I'm going to add another one, and she is Jen. And again, an email, even if it's the same email address, if they share one, you still have to put it in. Okay, and then maybe they also gave you, what did I do here? Oh, I forgot to put the type for her. She is also the seller. And they gave you the name of their lawyer, okay, that they've used before. So you're going to add that lawyer's name in here as well. And he's going to be the seller's lawyer. And his name is Joe Lawyer, right? You could put an email in if you want. You could keep going. So as you go through the process, all those phone numbers, I know what you do. You put the phone numbers inside this page of your folder, right? You write them all down in here. So instead of doing that, you're actually going to put them in here, and they'll then be available to you on your mobile app as well, everything. So if you're traveling and you don't have this folder with you, you don't need it because you're going to have everything on the Instanet online. Okay. All right. So we're getting there. So step 4 is the forms. Now look what happened. All the forms we need are already there because of the template that we created. And you can go through each one and fill them out. I'll finish this first and then show you how you can fill out the forms, and then we'll do a signing. Okay. You can always add new forms here if you missed one. Sometimes you're going through the list, you're like, oops, I forgot the lead paint. You're just going to add it by clicking on the plus sign. But we're done. We're going to go to our last step, which is step 4. And this is documents. Now, think of it this way. Anything that's not an MLS or a New York State form would be called a document. So it might even just be your handwritten notes, right? Something like this, your handwritten notes that from the walkthrough. So you're going to scan this. Of course, you scan it with your, where's mine? I wanted to show you yeah, this is your scanner, right? Put a scanner app on. I like Scanner Pro, but there are lots of free ones out there. I think I paid a couple bucks for Scanner Pro. Could not be easier. Scan your documents, put them in here, okay? And then anything else, like if you get an email from the bank or you get something from the inspection or the title company or anything like that, those are the kinds of things that are going to go in under documents. Okay. And one really neat thing is that you get an email address that belongs to this folder. Okay. So if I click on this email envelope right here, sorry, I get so excited. I just love this part. This email address belongs to this folder that I'm setting up, okay? It'll be different for every one of my folders will have a different email address. So if I forward something to this BethO'Connor.1.tx439, blah, 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 that'll come right plopped into here. It's really a great thing. So you could copy it and put it into your address book, maybe, for if you have the Morans in your address book and you have both Rick and Jen's email addresses, put that one in as a third email address so that you know you can always send something to their transaction folder. And you always get this fax back cover sheet. I almost forget to talk about it because it just seems so archaic to me to fax anything. I haven't seen or used a fax machine in, gosh, I can't even tell you how long. We even got rid of all of our fax machines at work because we just scan everything now and we save it as a PDF and we're able to email it to someone. So, but you may have a client who really needs something faxed to them and it creates this cover sheet, right, that has a barcode that belongs to that folder. Okay, this barcode, anything you fax with this on top goes right into this transaction folder. Okay. All right. So didn't want to forget to mention that, but you could always add documents right from your computer. Let's say you have a couple of things you want to put in here. I'm just putting some random things in that are on my computer. Let's see, there we go. Some other webinar handouts. So you're just adding them there and then you can have access to that from anywhere. You don't have to worry about having that folder with you because you'll always have them. All right, so we are done. We are done setting this up. I'm going to stop right here and just see if there are questions about that setup process that we just did. Be sure to type that in the questions box. I see we have one. Christine is asking, do you get a notice that email was sent to that transaction folder? You do get a lot of email notifications, Christine, about that specifically. I know you get emails when your client signs something, but I'm not sure about an email on whether you put something into that transaction folder. We'd have to play around. Well, I didn't get an email. I know I didn't. So I guess the answer is no. Jennifer's asking, where was the button to get the transaction specific folder email? Oh, okay, sure. I'll show that again. So right up here at the top is the envelope. If you were still in the wizard, we can go back to the wizard. It's also an envelope. It's this one right here. Okay, you just click on that envelope and that's how you get that email address. All right. So what happens now is that we're at another dashboard. This time it's the transaction dashboard. It's the dashboard just for this one folder. Okay. I find that a little confusing because it kind of looks like this one. It says dashboard and then there it is, but see the similarities. So sometimes it helps if you add the photo of the house up here. You just click there and add the photo. That'll help you. But you can see everything's kind of laid out and you can unlock and set this up differently if you like. We have documents. There's all our documents. There's our forms. Maybe we want the forms. I'll unlock. We could move forms up top here. Okay, then lock. Same like you did with the dashboard, you can lock and unlock, okay, and move things around. There's your contacts, all your contacts here. You can sort however you want. You can add right from here. So this is going to be your main folder menu here when you're working on a transaction. And if you've gone out and come back to Instanet, now I'm back to the agent dashboard. This is my home page. This is my desktop, remember? There's the transaction we just created, 554 Apple in Levittown. All I do is click on the name of the transaction and it brings me to that specific transaction dashboard. Okay, so we're going to fill out a couple of forms and then we're going to get Rick and Jen to sign them. We'll do 4 forms. We'll do lead paint, agency disclosure, the property data section, and the contract. I'm not going to fill the whole thing out, but I'll just show you how easy it is to do. So click on we'll do the residential property data section first. This is the one that's going to take you the longest. And it just auto-filled in the Apple, but Lane doesn't belong there. It belongs over here, right? And you'll just tab through the different sections. It gets a little funky when you look for the school district name. So sometimes you have to go back and make sure you put the zone in. And then let's see if I'm right. We get the schools. Okay, so this is in Levittown schools. So you're going to go through and fill out the whole thing that you normally would do on that carbon paper. This is on 2 sheets, 2 pages. If you go to print this, it's going to come out on 2 pages. There's 1 and there's 2. If you use the paper forms that your office gets from MLS, it's one really long 8.5 by, I don't know, 17. It's really long, but nobody has that paper at home, so they had to split this up and put it on 2 pages. Okay, so you can always print. Your options are all up here at the top, right? You can file it, you can print it, you can email it from here, you can email anything. That's not for signing, that's just emails this document as you filled it out. Okay, you can add things to it. You can put a text box on here. They call that annotate. So if you have something you want to add to the form, you just type it in here. Okay, whatever you want to do. I know some of you do some things when you get down here about the listing date. So you could make those changes instead of doing them with a pen. You could do them actually with the typing on top of it using a text box. Okay, so I'm not going to, obviously this would take me quite some time to fill this whole thing out. So I'm just going to save it and I'm going to exit. And now that we'll pretend that that's completely done. The next one we're going to do is the contract for residential or condo co-op. The contract is the part where you agree on the commission, right? And so you're going to fill out all your commission things right here. And your second page, right? You check off whatever, lockbox, those kinds of things. Notice it put Rick and Jen's names here when we do our signings. That's going to be helpful. So I want you to pretend that I have completely filled this out, okay? We don't want to waste time doing it, but just pretend that I have, okay? Let's say we're listing this at 525. Okay, so we're going to save that one. I'm going to exit. When you exit, it actually saves it, but if you feel better doing it this way, you can hit save and then exit. Okay, and then we're going to do lead paint and agency disclosure. So I'm going to do the lead paint. This part's all filled out. You're going to, well, when we do your signing, I'm going to show you how to set this up when you do the signing part. And then pretty much it's just them having to sign at the bottom here. Okay, so we'll pretend this is done for now also. We're going to exit. We can save if you feel better. Now I'm starting to feel better. Okay, and then our last one was lead paint. Did I forget the lead paint? Lead paint, oh, there it is on the top. Okay, but if you did forget it, if you needed a form and it's not here, just click on the plus, go to the MLS forms and add it. Okay, it's okay. So we're going to do lead paint. And these are the 4 forms we're going to set up for a signature for Rick and Jen. Did I just go over this? I think I did. It was the agency I didn't. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Agency disclosure. I did. There it is. Okay. We'll do this one. Okay. You can highlight sections. So if you are the seller's agent and you want to just make sure that, let's see, they're clear on that the relationship, right? You could highlight something like that. You could even make it a different color. I want to do it in red. Looks more like pink to me, but so that allows you to kind of add things. You're going to check off your relationship, right? All of that, the designated sales agents, if there's dual agency, and on and on. So we're going to pretend this one is finished also, okay? And we're going to save it. All right, I'm going to exit back to my transaction dashboard. We have a question, so I just want to make sure. Jennifer says, I always need to save as a PDF and then it will let me print. It won't let me print without saving first. That's a good point. So what Jen is saying is that with her, let's say with this agency disclosure, she wants to save the PDF. So she goes to save. It does look like it. She goes to print. Maybe, Jen, if you just did this, save as a PDF, you wouldn't have to print it. Or if you only want to print it, let's see if it makes you save it as a PDF. No, you can go directly to your printer here. Yeah, so just make sure you're using, if you need the PDF, do save as a PDF. If you just want to print, use the print there. I hope that helps. Okay, so back to the, oops, I went to the wrong dashboard. Okay, all righty. Now, as you go through, if this is in your way on the left, the right side here, you can just collapse that wizard with the hamburger. That's the thing that you'll find that is helpful. Okay, yeah, Jennifer says that she has difficulty with that. Maybe contact their support people and see if there's something you can change, a setting on your computer. Christine says, can you show how you highlighted the seller's agent or added a text box? Sure. I just, in the form, you're going to come up here to the top. This T with a cross through it is what they call the markup. You have all kinds of options here: colors, fonts, clauses, help, zooming in, zooming out, whatever you want. Just play with these. But this one is how I did the highlight, and you can also add a text box. They call it annotate, is a text box. Okay, that takes me getting used to. So I chose highlight, And then I come to my form and I click and drag across the area I want to highlight, right click to um, make it darker. Whoops. And then you can't even read it. And change the color. Okay. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. So now what we want to do, I'm going to exit this, is we want to get those forms signed digitally by Rick and Jen. And I'm going to guess that, like me, you're starting to see more and more industries using the digital signings. Recently, I had to sign something. I don't know, it was some kind of a financial statement I had to sign, and that was all done digitally. Oh, we signed our new lease. That was done digitally. And then the accountant now, pretty much they're using digital signing. So people are getting more comfortable with it, and they're also expecting it. So you can have every one of your MLS forms signed digitally. If a lawyer tells you it's not legal, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? It is legal. Our attorneys at LIBOR have worked with the Department of State and the New York State Association of Realtors to feel confident to tell you that it is legal for you to have these all signed digitally. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to start a signing, and I have a little widget here that makes it kind of easy for me to pull those in. Okay, so we're going to click on start a signing, and I'm going to call this Moran Basic Forms, and I'm just, yeah, 4. I'm going to 4 of them. Okay, and we're going to create that new signing. So it's also a wizard. There's 4 steps. It's really quite simple. There's the name that I gave it. The sign in line or simulsign, it designates whether it matters who signs the document first. In this case, it doesn't matter, so we can just leave it there at simulsign. Okay. There's some advanced options you can check out, like resending it every 4 hours or something like that, but that's all you really need. So I'm going to collapse that step 1, and I'm going to open step 2. And the people that need to sign are Rick. He's going to be a signer, a remote signer. Jen is a remote signer. And I have to sign the initial on the lead paint. A lot of agents don't even realize their initials are needed there. So I'm going to be a remote signer. Now, maybe Joe Lawyer just wants to get a copy of everything. Okay. I didn't put an email address in for him, so this wouldn't work. So I'm going to take that off. Now, if you were in their living room and you wanted them to sign digitally, you can use this in-person signing, and all of the documents will open on your computer, your laptop, your iPad, whatever device you're using, and then you just hand it over to Rick. Okay, Rick, tap where your signature goes, done. Hand it over to Jen, tap where your signature is, done. I got to tell you, when I sold my house, I would have been very impressed if any agent was comfortable with that. They're getting there. A lot of people are. Okay, so we're going to add those 3 people to the signing. Now, remember, I said you have to have an email address for each signer. So if it's missing, you're going to see a red alert here somewhere that you have to just click on it and make sure you have an email address. Okay, you cannot do one without an email. Even if it's the same, Jen and Rick have to be in separately. Okay, 2 people. All right, we're done with step 2. Let me just check the time. Okay, good. And we're going to go to step 3, the documents. So what we're going to have them sign is the contract, agency disclosure, lead paint, and the property data section. These 4 forms is what they're going to sign. Okay, this time. I'm going to add those 4. There they are. Okay. I think you can probably rearrange them if you needed to drag them around or whatever. Whoops. You can actually click on it to view it, right? To make sure you got, but I like that it has the names on it there. So we're just going to, and add here is to add a new one. If we decided we had a 5th document, we could add it here. When you do that, though, you can also have them sign things that are not MLS forms. Maybe your company has a form for if the let's say the seller says they don't want their name on the listing. That requires a form to be filled out and them to write it by hand. So you may have that in your Dropbox or something like that. So that's what you're going to use. You can choose from all these different things. Okay. So the last thing is the design. I'm going to close up step 3 and I'm going to click on the design. So we're going to map out where everybody needs to sign. And it started with the listing agreement, okay? And notice what's going to happen here. So up here under signers, this is probably the most, I hope you can see this, that the GoToWebinar isn't in your way. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Good. So see where my name is there? The 3 signers are going to be in this box, and you have to do each person separately. So I'm going to do Rick first. Okay, I'm going to leave it at Rick. I'm going to click on this drag and drop, and then I'm going to make sure that Rick is, all the places where Rick needs to either initial or sign are going to be set up. Now, sometimes it'll do some of it for you. Do you see how it says RM? That's for Rick Moran, right? It kind of did it for you because you said he was a seller. And it also put his signature here. But if for some reason it wasn't there, I just got rid of it, you're going to drag his signature over and drop it where it needs to be. It's like a sticky note you're sticking on top of it. That's where he's going to click when he opens the email. Okay. So maybe I want Rick to initial something along the way here. So I can do an initial, I can ask Rick to initial something along here, right? Anything you want. So then I'm going to go down and do Rick for the lead paint. I'm sorry, agency. And that's already been set up, right, with the date. We'll move his date up. We'll keep going. This is the lead paint. Now, honestly, with the lead paint, what you really should do is Rick should initial here, and then you should give him the choice of checking off these 2, and you're going to do that with this radio button. It's going to give you 2 buttons here, and he will have the choice to click on one. He doesn't know about it, or he has no knowledge of lead paint, or he does know about lead paint. It should not be you that's checking that off. That's not the intention of this form. It's for the seller to say whether or not they have any knowledge of lead paint. Okay. And then he needs to sign. We'll just adjust that a little bit. This kind of got all messed up, so we're gonna just while we're here. All right. So the last thing Rick needs to sign is the listing agreement, right? Or the property data form. We might even want to have him initial page 1. Okay. Now we're done with Rick. Rick's signing is completely finished. So we can now go on to Jen. You have to change the name in the top there. Make sure Jen is there, and then go back to the top and set up Jen's signatures. So she needs to initial here and here. It only set up Rick's for some crazy reason. I don't know why. Maybe it just puts the first seller in there. We wanted both of them to initial something here. And her signing is set up. It's all ready to go. And the date, her date, you can actually, if you right click, this is her date, his date. If you right click on it, you can add a date stamp. Okay. All right. So let's keep going for Jen. What did I do? Okay, here we go. So here we're going to have her sign. That's already been set up. And we can move her date up. Or you can actually put the date in the right place. There we go. And lead paint. So we need Jen to initial. And then we're going to do 2 more radio buttons for Jen. She's going to get these 2. She won't see Rick's radio buttons. She'll only see hers, so it won't be confusing to her. And her signature is already in place. And actually, that's her date right there, and his is here. Takes a little cleaning up. We're going to have her initial this property data section page, and then we're going to have her sign on this line right here. But these should both be dated. Let me just, yeah, we're going to add a date stamp for both of these. Okay. And then the only last thing we need to do is my initials on that lead paint. So I change to me and we go to lead paint. And this is where the agent initials here at F. So I'm going to just put BO right there. Okay. And we are done. All right. You might want to take a good, especially if you're doing 4 forms, you're going to want to take your time, make sure you go through, you have them all correctly signed. And then you go to next. You're done with the drag and drop. You go to next. And this is the final step, okay? You can customize the invitation. Maybe if you have clients who you think need a little extra explanation, you can say, Rick needs to sign these forms from Beth O'Connor. You know, just so he knows for sure it's from you. And you could do the same with Jen down here and then click save. Once you've done that, you just hit send the invitations. And so they're going to get them in their inbox, and you then, let me maximize this again, you then now from that transaction have this signing. It's still it should say in process. If I there we go. It says in progress. When it was in the wizard, that meant I hadn't finished it, but I did finish it. So it's in progress. And the lightning bolt means nobody has signed yet. So once people start to sign it, you're going to see that they've authenticated their signature and they've signed it. And by the way, that throws a lot of people off when they do these signings. There's 2 steps to the process. The first step, the person who signs has to choose a signature. So if you like an Arial font or you like a script font or something like that, they can choose their signature. They can even scratch it with their mouse or on an iPad, choose the signature, and then they go to the documents and start click, 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 click on all the spots. I would try one of these for yourself. If you've never done a digital signing, you are going to be better off helping your clients if you've done it before. And also, I would say don't do it on your phone. It is, if you try to go through one of those signing processes on this, I think you'll lose your eyesight. So try not to, and encourage your signers also not to do it on the phone. Okay. Yeah, I want to leave time for the mobile. I'm going to check for questions. If I go back to my transaction, by the way, to the 554 Apple, you can see my signing is right there. I might move that up. I think, oh, I have to unlock. I'd like my Authentisign to be up next to my forms. Come on. There we go. And maybe even the documents over here. Yeah, I like that better. Good. Unfortunately, that will only be remembered for the Morans. It won't be for all of your, you'll have to do that for all of your transactions. Okay. So now that it's all, the folder is set up, whenever you need to view something or print it or send it, maybe the lawyer says to you, can you send me a copy of that lead paint that they signed? You wouldn't do this one because this is the one without the signatures. You would come in here and you're going to start to see the documents down here at the bottom as they get signed. There'll be the original, then there'll be signing 1, signing 2, signing 3, and then they combine everybody's signatures into one final document. And that's the one you would share if somebody asks you for a signed document. Okay. All right. Let's just check for questions here. I know I went through that really, really quickly, and I'm going to show you all the resources where you can review that. So Okay, Roger says, I had the same client making multiple offers on multiple properties. Is it possible I can save and use them often without having to type the same? Oh yeah, absolutely. When you put a client in, you can save them into your contacts and then you just be able to pull them in for everything. I didn't mention that, but Christine says, where is the start signing widget? Mine is only showing on the agent dashboard, not on the individual transaction. The signing, so what you need to do is unlock and add this widget to start a signing from that transaction. If you don't have that, you can add this. Okay. Let's see. Cheto says, having issues in person signing. Oh, though the person has an email address attached, says the email is missing. What's the way I can circumvent that? I usually send it to myself, changing their email to mine and have them sign. That is how you do it. You have to put your email address in. I haven't tried that in a while. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. We may have to ask them up at yeah. And Dahlia, I am recording this. Um, you'll be able to see it in the Stratus Support Center afterwards. I'll go over that. So I did have a request also to go over how I did that, the radio buttons on the lead paint. So let's do it again. So if you're in it, by the way, if you're in a single form and you just want to have this one signed, you just come up here to the pen at the top. And the way I did that was, let's go down to the design, see if it's going to let me. It's not. I thought maybe I could. Okay, so Rick and Jen and Beth. Okay, we'll save that. We already have a document and now we have the design. So what I did was I had Rick initial over here on this line, and then I used this black circle here, gives you two radio buttons for your signer to pick one or the other. They can't, so I'm dragging that black dot, and when I let go, I get two. See how it left me with two? So I put one here. Whoops. There we go. I put one up here. Why aren't they moving? There we go. And then the other one down here. So when it comes to Rick signing this, he's going to click here and he won't be able to click both of these. He will only be able to click one. In most cases, no knowledge of lead-based paint, right? He will not be able to click both of them, but then you feel confident that he's the one who actually answered this question. So I love that for that. Anytime they need to make a choice, A or B, use these radio buttons, and they will not be able to click on both of them. Okay. So I want to, I'm just going to continue without saving. Okay. So I want to talk about accessing all of this on your mobile devices, and we only have about 7 minutes left, so I want to be sure we cover it. So you have access to all of this. Let me see if I can bring my phone up for you. I'm just going to open my reflector and whoops, we're going to connect my phone. Okay, 0130. Okay, so what I want you to do, first of all, there is an app, but it's only for Apple devices. So if you have an Android and you hang out with me when we're done, I'm going to show you how to create a little shortcut on your phone since they don't have an app. I really thought by now they would have an app for Android, but for whatever reason they don't. So what you're going to do is go to the App Store. You could do this with me. And you're going to search. I clicked on search. Now I'm going to come up here and type in transaction desk. With a space. Transaction desk. And then I'm going to click on this one right here. Okay, and it found it right away. It should look something like this, should look kind of familiar. And then I have open, you're going to click get. Okay, I already have it on my phone. Now, the first time you do this, you're going to have to get a transaction code from your from the desktop. So let me just see if I can do that without losing you. I'm going to move my phone aside. You go into your settings, and then you go to linked applications, and you're going to ask for this activation code. And then you're going to type that one on your phone. So let me show you that again. So I went to the desktop. This is after I've downloaded the app. And I went to my settings. That's the 3 gears on the left side. And I went to the third one down, linked applications. Click on that. And I need an activation code to get started. Only once. You only have to do this once. You click on activation code, and then that's the one you can use on your phone to connect them. Okay. But the great thing about the phone is that everything that we just did is right here on the phone. And so let's say you're out showing on a showing, and you get a text from your client that the lawyer wants a copy of their agency disclosure form. Okay, so right here on my phone, I'm going to open this transaction, right? The 554 Apple, right? And they asked for the agency disclosure form. So you see it down here. So I can either open it, but if I click, I think I might be able to email it from the 3 dots. Let's just see. Preview, edit form, nah. So we got to open it. Agency disclosure. I told you it's hard to see on the phone, didn't I? And then in order to, all your options are under that file right here. Okay, you don't see it, the word file. It's just a file. So you tap on file, and all your options are here, and the sharing is this is save, and this is share right here. It's a box. That's sort of the universal symbol for emailing it or faxing it or something like that. You can fax it from here if you want. So I'm going to tap on that, and I can email it, fax it, start assigning if I want. I've already done that. Put it in the doc box or mark it up in the doc box. We don't have time to cover all of that, but I could absolutely email this and anything else. But he just wanted this agency disclosure. You put the name in, Joe Lawyer. He might come up. No. And his email, and then you send it out. Okay. You have the option, send it as a link or send it as an attachment. I think that most email providers now prefer the links because the attachments seem to be worse with the viruses. So you would send it that way. Okay, I'm going to close that. And I can get back to use the hamburger to get back to the main menu here, right? There's all your things. There's all your support and setup. I'll show you support while we're here. If you tap on the question mark support, they have live support. I believe when you do live support, you can chat with them or call them. Chat, if you like that. Yeah. So I'll skip that. They have online training. Okay. They have live courses coming up that really do specific training, deep dives into the things that I've just glossed over here. Let's go back. They have feedback. These guides are fabulous, especially you brokers who are thinking about using the broker tools. They have all of these guides in here. So, for example, if you wanted to, here's the office for brokers. You tap on that, and you have all of these guides that show you how to get through that step by step. Love it. You can't read it on here. You want it on your desktop for sure. Okay. Let's see what just happened. Okay, nope, nope, that wasn't it either. Here we go. Okay. So I don't see how I can close this. That's not very nice, is it? It's just sort of leaving me stuck, and I got to log back into, got to reopen. Huh, that's weird. It's stuck. Okay. No matter what I tap on, it won't let me close it. That's really frustrating. I may have to shut down the app and go back to it. So, all right, so I'm going to answer questions. It's 4 o'clock now, and I will hang in just 30 seconds. I will show you Android users. If you're still connected, I'll show you how to create a shortcut. But I hope you find this to be really helpful. What I've tried to do is get past some of the things that are holding people up from using this. And one of them is just that feeling completely overwhelmed when you go right to your, let me just close that. When you come to this dashboard, if it's a mess here and you have some stuff in here that just, it shouldn't be here, or you just don't know what it is, just use your lock and clean it up. And if you have transactions that need to be deleted, just, you can't delete from here. You just open it up. You can archive it actually if you want. You can mark it as sold, withdrawn, pending, whatever you need to do. And then you go to these three dots here, and that's where you can delete the transaction. Okay. And that way, if you have some old things that you maybe created when you first learned this and you just don't know how to get it out, I have so much cleaning to do. I can't even look. Oh, it's just, yeah, never ending. Look, I have 96 going back to 2008. Any other questions? I don't see them. Okay, great. So, except for you Android users, the rest of you, I am so glad that you attended, and look for the recording. Oh, on the recording will be on the support center. In Stratus, if you click on the yellow light bulb, this yellow light bulb at the top of every page, support, that is where I post all of my recordings and these training guides also. If you click on webinars, the recorded one will show up at the top here. There's the one I did last week on Collab. The week before I did one on CMA. I'm doing new agents. We have a lot of recordings. And then the upcoming ones, the live ones, are listed here. We just added these ones for Remine. If anybody's using Remine and or interested in it, there's an intro that they're going to do as well. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to help. Let me connect you Android users now. I'm going to connect my phone again and see if we can't, I can't show you how to do this. Okay. Because before they had the app, we all had to do this step that I'm going to show you. So if you have an Android phone, believe it or not, what you have to do is go to regular Stratus. So the way to do that is to open a browser. I use Safari, you might use Google. Just go to your internet browser and type in, up at the top, you're going to type in lirealtor.com, right? Oops, lirealtor.com. That's how you get to Stratus. And you're going to click on Stratus and you're going to log in. They just changed this from MLSLI to one key. How exciting is that? So we're going to use my password and I'm going to log in. I'm going to close this news item. This is the only time you'll have to do this, luckily. So what you do is zoom yourself in to the Instanet link. Remember how I told you to get there, and just tap on that. And you can get in on here without having to do anything else. So what I do then is I create a shortcut. Now for you Android users, I believe the way you get a shortcut is you'll have three dots up at the top here, maybe up here. On an Apple device, we come down here to this box and we say we want to add it to the home screen. Yeah, there it is, add to home screen. So you'll find it somewhere on your Android phone is the ability to put any website on a direct link to a website right on your home screen. So when I do that, I'm just going to call it transaction desk. I don't need the word dashboard. I'm going to click add right up here. And now there I have it on my phone, you see? Transaction desk. So I don't have the app, but I have a shortcut to the mobile version. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to put up my email address again. If you have any difficulties with that, I'd be happy to help. Let's see. Yes, boconnor@mlsli.com. And also you can contact Instanet customer service. I'm not sure that they'll tell you Android users how to do that. So I'll be your secret helper on that issue. So hope everybody enjoyed it. Have a great day and get using your Instanet, get organized and clean that desk up. Bye everyone. Great to have you.